What is up, my dudes? My name is Rane and welcome to part 3 of making metal in FL Studio, where I'm going to show you how you can turn your boring DI signal into an awesome guitar tone. So let's waste no time and jump right into FL Studio. Alright, there we are, and if we want to work on our guitar tone, then maybe we should record some guitar, hey? If you want to record something, just go to your mixer and select a channel, any channel except the master channel, don't do that. And you go over here and just select the input that your guitar is plugged into. In my case, that would be input 1, so let's do that. Sounds good. And now you just go up here and click on this little button and it should go red. And usually there would be a pop-up. And there, I think you just record audio into playlist or something like that. I'll put a picture up, don't worry. But before we record, it's going to count in 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. And you don't want to start immediately. Like you don't want to go 2, 3, 4. Because we're going to have this like super abrupt beginning, which is going to sound very unpleasant. So what you should do instead is wait until it clicks 8 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because now it's going to record the very beginning of your strum and it's going to sound much nicer. Hell yeah. But now that we know that, let's think of a riff real quick and record. That sounds pretty cool. And now we do what's called double tracking, which basically means whatever I just recorded, let's record it again. Nice. And the reason we do that is because usually we hear these signals only from the center. Whether we're listening to this with our right ear or our left ear, we're going to hear exactly the same. So it's gonna sound like it's coming from the center. But if we record twice, we can pan one to the very left and the other one to the very right. And because of very small nuances in our playing and in audio waves and whatever, it's going to sound absolutely huge. It's going to sound like it's coming from the walls, I don't know. Now, if you don't hear a difference, that's probably because you don't have headphones on. So put some headphones on. We're talking about music here. Or your headphones are mono, which that would be bad. But hell yeah, now that we have our guitar part, let's work on the tone. So let's get some plugins in here. The first one we're going to use is an amp simulator called Emissary or Emissary. I don't know how to pronounce it, but here it is. And in fact, it's free, so you can go download it and put it in your VST folder on FL Studio. And if you want to know how to get plugins into FL Studio, we can watch a tutorial on that. There are a lot on YouTube. But now, let's have a listen to what this plugin sounds like. That's pretty bad. Okay, let's try a different one, shall we? Crunchman V3. Also free. Let's see what it sounds like. Slightly better, I guess, but still kind of weird. Okay, let's try something different. ProFet, a pedal, not a guitar amp. Let's listen to it. Interesting, but weird still, huh? I must be missing something. And yes, I am, of course. What I'm missing is an impulse response loader. In my case, I'm going to use NadIR. Now, what is an impulse response? Well, it's basically a simulator for a cabinet. So it's going to take that weird sounding guitar signal and it's going to make it sound like it's coming out of a real speaker. And that's what's going to give it that noise guitar tone that we're looking for. Let me show you. So what you're going to need is you're going to have to look for impulse responses. There are a lot of free ones on the internet. For example, ML Sound Labs have one that's called Best IR in the World. Okay, let's use that and let's see what it sounds like. And as you can tell, that sounds a lot better. It sounds a little bit muffled right now, but it's definitely better than what we had before. Let's try some of the other ones that we have here. And as you can tell, I used the same plugin. I used this pedal right here. But just using different impulse responses can make your guitar sound completely different. So when I was starting to make music, I thought, oh my god, these amp simulators all sound crap. But nope, it's actually the impulse responses that I used, because the impulse response can make a huge difference. So just keep that in mind when you're making guitar tones. So let's listen through some of the amps that we have here and see which one we like the best. Let's try Emissary again. Sounds pretty decent, not gonna lie. Let's try the Crunchman. Let's listen to the ProFet. Okay, that one sounds pretty cool as well. I think the Emissary and the ProFet sound the most modern, so I'm going to play with those a little bit. So let's go to the Emissary amp and let's figure out some settings, right? Shall we? And with the Emissary, you can actually switch between clean and distorted, which is pretty cool. So in case you need a clean guitar tone, Emissary has you covered. Okay, so here's something. Some people think that more gain means heavier, cooler, more chuck, 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 but not necessarily. You just gotta play around with it and find a good setting, but it's not necessarily more gain, more heavy. Ooh, and then I just noticed we're currently listening to mono, so we still hear it from the center. So you gotta make sure that all plugins are put into stereo. And NadIR, stereo, and now that sounds huge, hell yeah. Another thing that, especially when you're starting out, you might think that bass is always good, but not necessarily, especially on a guitar. There is a time and place for bass on your guitar, but usually bass just makes your mix muddy and full and too full. It's just going to sound bloated and weird. You can still add some bass afterwards in the end if you feel like you're missing some, but usually I would recommend having it down or centered. And I'm a big fan of very bright guitar tones, so I'm going to put the mids and the treble up. And there we go. We have a pretty alright guitar tone. If you wanted to, you could add an equalizer, like this one right here. And let's see what we got here. We have quite a lot of low end. So I could, if I wanted to, roll that off, because as I said, it's just going to make the mix muddy. And everything you see on the side right here is just noise. However, that noise can make it sound a little bit brighter and nicer. So you don't always want to completely cut it off. So you might want to put a cut off right here and listen to it. Does it sound good? Does it sound bad? Do you want it removed or do you actually want to keep it? Yeah, like I said, if I cut it away, it just sounds muffled. But if I keep it, it sounds very bright. So I think I'm going to keep it. And then you can make some more adjustments to the tone. For example, if you want that Metallica tone with no mids, you can turn those down if you want to. And yeah, you can just play around and make your tone sound nice. But now, here's a little thing. You've probably noticed yourself that there's a lot of noise. And to get rid of that, you will need a gate. Lucky for you, there's a free one, and this one is called G-Gate. So don't think that you need to buy expensive gear and plugins to get great tones. There are a lot of great free plugins out there. Gates, amp sims, and impulse response loaders. There's just a lot of free stuff out there, and you do not need to buy expensive stuff. So let's figure out our threshold, which is when it's going to start kicking in. For example, if the gate is supposed to be at -1 decibel, then yeah, nothing is gonna come through except that. So we're gonna have to make it a little bit less aggressive. Let's put it on 26. So let's do the opposite. Let's make it a little bit let's make it less sensitive. This is what happens if you don't have it sensitive enough. A few sounds are gonna cut through. So you wanna make sure that this is at 38 works, at least for me. You might have to play around with it a little bit. Attack and fade, yeah, again, just play around with it. I think attack 1 millisecond works, and the fade, you might want to pull it a little bit down. You don't want it to slowly fade out, you want it to kick in really fast. Well, not really fast, but you get the point. Yeah, that sounds about right. Hell yeah. And that seems to be everything that we need. We need a gate to make sure that there's no noise coming through. We need an amplifier, or an amp sim in this case, to give us the tone. And then we need an impulse response loader that makes sure that it doesn't sound like absolute crap. And then at the end, if you want to, you can do some more adjustments like equalizing. And now we have this tone. And you might think, well, that sounds kind of crappy. Well then, let me tell you something. Context matters. Let's put in some drums, bass, and some orchestral elements, and let's see what you're thinking now. Okay, to be fair, the tone still sounds a little bit old school. I didn't really spend that much time on it, but you get the point. Context will make your tone sound a lot better. You probably won't get a perfect guitar tone just on itself. You will need drums and bass to have it sound like really full and complete. So I hope this video helped you understand how to get a good guitar tone. Double check your guitars, make them left, right. Make sure you have a gate, an amp simulator, an impulse response loader, and maybe some EQing if you want to. And then you should be good to go. Now, this ends part 3 of the tutorial series. Tomorrow I'm going to show you how to write riffs with your nice sounding guitar tone now. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye bye!